Please listen to God's word. After listening to Adam's dialogue with God, do you understand what God was saying? I believe most people couldn't understand what God says because God's word conflicts with the teachings of the church. The church teaches that Adam committed sin and left the Garden of Eden. But unfortunately, God here tells us that Adam left the Garden of Eden because he was described as dead. What does it mean to be described as dead? According to the writing style of the original Hebrew text, there are two words for Adam's death, die, and you will die, and they are arranged hand in hand. According to the English Bible, when two identical words are written together, the following word emphasizes the previous word. Therefore, when describing Adam in two dead words, it means that Adam must die. But strangely, the church invented another set of explanations, that Adam's body did not die, he only died spiritually. So, is he dead or not? According to the teachings of the church, Adam was half dead and half alive, but unfortunately, we couldn't find this evidence in the Bible. In addition, when this statement is compared to the English Bible, I find that the two are contradictory. The church says that Adam was half dead, and the English Bible says that Adam must die. Which statement do you think is correct? When I looked back at the Hebrew Bible, I found that it was written, die, you will die, and the original text was. These are two words with the same roots. To understand the usage of these two words, one must first understand that this happened in the Garden of Eden. The point is that the people who live in the Garden of Eden are all living. And compared to those living outside the Garden of Eden, in the eyes of God, they are a group of dead people. That is to say, when Adam lived in the Garden of Eden, he was a living person. When he violated God's command, he was categorized as, die, you have died. What I want to emphasize is that when two words with the same root are written together, they express a particular classification that becomes a historical fact and will not change anymore. In Adam's case, it means that God has categorized Adam as a dead man, and because he is a dead man, he will be expelled from the Garden of Eden. This reflects that dead people are not allowed in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, the dead will be driven out of the Garden of Eden. And Adam is in this situation. Unfortunately, the church couldn't see this, and even more unfortunately, scholars who translate the Bible couldn't understand the meaning behind these two words, which is truly regrettable. Another point is that Adam did not commit any crime at all. In the Garden of Eden, I couldn't find any words related to Adam's sin, including sin, iniquity, perversion, guilt, illegality, trespass, rebellion, wickedness, uncleanness, lawlessness, wrongdoing, offense, crime, depravity, punishment, and so on. Therefore, the conclusion is simple. God has never used words like sin to describe Adam's mistakes. Furthermore, if Adam really committed a crime, the writing style of the original text should use two parallel words, such as, a sin you have sinned. If the Bible had this style of writing, I would be pretty sure that Adam was driven away for sin, but it didn't. The fact is, God only mentioned an important concept, which is, die, you will die. And I can say with certainty that the reason Adam left the Garden of Eden was not that he committed any crime, but because he violated the Constitution in the Garden of Eden, and was ultimately categorized by God as, die, you have died, and then he was driven away. This is the truth. What is a categorization? It is a term for the ultimate conclusion. Once categorized, it becomes history, and no one can change that fact. In other words, when Adam was categorized as dead, by definition, he was deceased. And of course, Adam did not die in the flesh, but that was not the point. The point was that he was categorized as dead, so even if Adam lived another 10,000 years, he was deceased in God's eyes. Through this video, I hope to explain clearly why Adam was expelled from the Garden of Eden. If you like this video, please subscribe, like, share, and press the bell.